Good evening, folks across the cosmos and beyond. Strap in for the high-flying, space-defying adventures of Zane Stellar and his gallant crew on Galactic Odyssey. Join Zane, the daring astrophysicist with a heart of gold, as he navigates the sea of stars, unraveling the mysteries of the universe. With his trusty team, the brilliant Dr. Ilara Vega and the ingenious engineer Zara Starling, there's no corner of the galaxy too remote, no alien too strange, and no danger too great. So tune in, space cadets, as we blast off on an interstellar journey filled with thrilling escapades, cosmic wonders, and out-of-this-world excitement. This is one stellar saga you won't want to miss. Keep your eyes on the skies and get ready for a wild ride through the final frontier on Galactic Odyssey. Amidst the vastness of space, the celestial base Alpha, a beacon of interstellar cooperation and scientific advancement, orbits a serene blue giant star. Here, in this hub of cosmic exploration, Captain Zane Stellar and his loyal companions, Dr. Ilara Vega and Zara Starling, prepare for their next journey. The atmosphere is one of bustling activity, with researchers and explorers from various galaxies sharing knowledge and stories. Zane, ever the charismatic leader, oversees the final preparations of the Nova Blade 2, his eyes reflecting the starlight that filters through the base's panoramic viewports. Dr. Vega, her mind always on the mysteries of the universe, analyzes recent data from distant galaxies. Zara, with her innate talent for engineering, fine-tunes the ship's advanced systems, ensuring they are ready for whatever challenges lie ahead. Suddenly, the calm of Celestial Base Alpha is shattered by an urgent transmission. The communication console blares to life, the screen displaying the emblem of the United Galactic Council. Zane immediately recognizes the severity of the situation and gathers his crew. The message is clear and dire. A conflict has erupted in the Valorian system, a remote sector known for its two neighboring planets, Xyreon and Zyphar. These twin worlds, orbiting their sun in a rare celestial dance, have been at peace for millennia. But now, a war has ignited between them, threatening not only their civilizations but the stability of the entire system. The Valorian system, it's always been a model of harmony, Dr. Vega remarks, concern evident in her voice. What could have driven them to war? Zane frowns, his mind racing. We need to find out. There's more at stake here than just a local conflict. A war in such a closely bound system could have catastrophic consequences. The crew quickly boards the Nova Blade 2, the ship's engines humming with readiness. As they depart from Celestial Base Alpha, the ship's advanced navigation systems plot a course for the Valorian system. The journey is tense, the weight of the impending conflict hanging over them. The Nova Blade 2, now a vessel on a mission of peace, speeds through the stars, its destination a system mired in turmoil. As they approach the Valorian system, the stark reality of the situation becomes apparent. The once harmonious twin planets are now embroiled in a fierce battle. Space around the planets is littered with the debris of warships, the remnants of battles waged in orbit. Energy blasts light up the void, a deadly ballet between the forces of Xyreon and Zyphar. From the bridge of the Nova Blade 2, the crew observes the chaos. Xyreon, a planet of lush green forests and deep blue oceans, bears scars of the conflict, with plumes of smoke rising from its surface. Zyphar, its sister world, known for its towering mountains and sprawling deserts, is equally marred, its beauty tarnished by the ravages of war. Their ecosystems could collapse if this continues, Dr. Vega notes gravely. The environmental damage alone could make both planets uninhabitable. Zane steels himself, his resolve firm. We have to intervene. But first, we need to understand the cause of this war. We can't help them if we don't know why they're fighting. Zara adjusts the ship's sensors, scanning for a safe point of entry. I'm setting us down near the neutral zone. It's the only area not currently engulfed in the conflict. As the Nova Blade 2 descends, the reality of the war hits them. This isn't just a battle of fleets in space, it's a clash of civilizations, brother against brother. The task ahead is daunting, but Zane Stellar and his crew are determined to uncover the root of this conflict and seek a path to peace. Their ship lands on the neutral zone, a thin strip of land between the two warring worlds. The Nova Blade 2 touches down on the rugged terrain of the neutral zone, a desolate stretch of land scarred by the proximity of war. The ship's ramp lowers, and Captain Zane Stellar steps out, flanked by Dr. Ilara Vega and Zara Starling. The air is tense, filled with the distant echoes of conflict resonating from the twin planets. No sooner do they set foot on the surface than they are greeted by a sight both awe-inspiring and intimidating. Emerging from the shadows of a nearby rock formation are creatures of immense stature, towering at least 10 feet tall. Their appearance is striking, resembling giant, hairy men, their muscular forms clad in shimmering gold armor that reflects the light of the Valorian sun. Before Zane can react, the giants move swiftly, their large hands reaching out to grab him. The situation escalates rapidly, the crew caught off guard by this unexpected confrontation. In a flash of quick thinking, Zara, always ready for contingencies, pulls out a flare gun from her utility belt. With a sharp aim, she fires it into the sky directly in front of Zane. The flare bursts into a brilliant display of light and sound, startling the giants and causing them to momentarily release their grip. Seizing the moment, Zane steps back, raising his hands in a gesture of peace. "We mean you no harm," he calls out, his voice steady but loud enough to carry over the commotion. "We've come in response to the conflict. We need to speak with your leaders. We're here to help if we can." The giants, recovering from their surprise, exchange glances, their expressions a mix of confusion and curiosity. They seem to communicate wordlessly among themselves, their deep-set eyes shifting from Zane to his crew and back. After a tense moment, one of the giants, who appears to hold authority, steps forward. His voice is deep and resonant, echoing across the barren landscape. "You are brave to come here, small ones. I am Korgath, warden of the neutral zone. If it is peace you seek, then follow me. Our leaders are in council as we speak, deliberating the fate of our worlds." Korgath leads the way, his massive strides covering ground quickly, forcing Zane and his crew to quicken their pace. They traverse the neutral zone, the landscape a stark reminder of the toll that war has taken on these once harmonious planets. As they walk, Dr. Vega observes the surroundings, her analytical mind piecing together the environmental impact of the conflict. The ecological damage is extensive. It's not just the combatants at risk. The entire system's biodiversity could collapse under the strain of war. Zane nods, his thoughts aligned with Vega's. "Our first task is to understand the cause of this war, then find a way to broker peace. Only then can we address the larger environmental and societal damage." Their journey takes them to a makeshift council chamber, a cavernous space carved into the side of a mountain, where the leaders of Xyreon and Zyphar, along with their respective advisors, are engaged in heated debate. The atmosphere is charged with tension, the weight of impending decisions hanging heavily in the air. As Zane and his crew enter, all eyes turn to them, a mix of suspicion and intrigue on the faces of the council members. Korgath announces their arrival, his voice booming through the chamber. "These off-worlders seek audience with you. They claim to come in peace, offering aid in our time of strife." The leaders of the twin planets, their expressions hardened by the burdens of war, eye the crew cautiously. Zane steps forward, ready to navigate the delicate intricacies of diplomacy in a world on the brink of destruction. The fate of the Valorian system hangs in the balance, and it's up to him and his crew to steer these fractured planets towards a path of peace and reconciliation. In the dimly lit council chamber, carved into the heart of a mountain that serves as a neutral ground, Zane Stellar stands before the assembled leaders of Xyreon and Zyphar. The tension in the air is palpable, the weight of years of conflict evident in the faces of those gathered. Zane, with his characteristic calm, addresses the council. "I need to understand the root of this conflict. What has driven neighbors, who have shared the skies for millennia, to such devastating war?" The leader of Xyreon, a stern figure with eyes that have seen many battles, rises to speak. "The heart of our conflict is gold. Our worlds have thrived on its abundance, using it for technology, energy, and trade. But now Zyphar's reserves are depleted. They accuse us of hoarding what little is left, igniting this war." A murmur of agreement rises from the Xyreon side of the chamber, while murmurs of dissent echo from the Zyphar delegation. The Zypharian leader, a formidable presence with a gaze as sharp as steel, retorts, "Our world has been stripped of its resources. Without gold, our society, our very way of life, is at risk. We had no choice but to act, to claim what is rightfully ours for the survival of our people." Zane listens intently, understanding the gravity of the situation. A resource war, fueled by necessity and survival, yet devastating in its impact. He clears his throat, ready to propose a solution. "What if I told you there's a way to resolve this conflict without further bloodshed? There's a system not far from here, known as the Sano cluster. It harbors a planet rich in gold, enough to sustain both Xyreon and Zyphar. If you work together to mine and distribute these resources, peace could be restored." A wave of skeptical murmurs sweeps through the chamber, the idea of cooperation seeming alien to both sides after such prolonged conflict. The Xyreon leader, with a hint of curiosity, asks, "How can we trust each other after all that has transpired? And why would you help us?" Zane meets his gaze squarely, "Because no civilization should have to endure what you have. And sometimes it takes an outside perspective to find a path to peace. Trust must be rebuilt, one step at a time. I propose a joint venture to the Sano cluster under a united command. Share the resources, rebuild your worlds together." The Zypharian leader, her expression hard but thoughtful, finally speaks, "It's a bold plan, but convincing our people to lay down arms and work alongside those they've fought will be a monumental task. You must help us convince them, Captain Stella." Zane nods, accepting the challenge. "We will do everything in our power to aid in this endeavor. Peace is worth the effort." As the meeting concludes, plans are set in motion to explore the feasibility of Zane's proposal. The leaders agree to a temporary ceasefire, a fragile but hopeful first step towards reconciliation. Zane, Vega, and Zara leave the chamber, their mission now clear. They must navigate the intricacies of interplanetary diplomacy and aid in the establishment of a joint venture to the Sano cluster. The road ahead is fraught with challenges, but the potential for lasting peace between Xyreon and Zyphar provides a beacon of hope. The crew returns to the Nova Blade 2, ready to embark on this crucial mission. The fate of two worlds now rests in their hands, and they are determined to see this journey through to a peaceful resolution. As the ship prepares to depart for the Sano cluster, Zane looks out into the cosmos, aware that the next steps they take could change the course of history for the Valorian system. The Nova Blade 2, leading the convoy with two vessels from Xyreon and Zyphar in tow, cuts a swift path through the star-studded expanse towards the Sano cluster. The atmosphere among the crew is one of cautious optimism. The joint venture, a fragile symbol of the newfound truce, represents a glimmer of hope in the shadow of war. As they traverse the void, the serenity of their journey is abruptly shattered. Without warning, a luminous entity appears before them, an amorphous mass of radiant energy that pulses and throbs with an otherworldly light. The entity engulfs the small fleet, its brilliant aura enveloping each ship in a cascade of shimmering luminescence. Alarms blare inside the Nova Blade 2, the ship's systems reacting to the unexpected encounter. Zane, quick to assess the situation, notices the energy readings spiking dangerously. "It's draining our power," he calls out, his voice calm but urgent. Dr. Vega, analyzing the data, adds, "It's like nothing I've ever seen. A wandering energy life form, perhaps. It seems to be siphoning our energy emissions." Zane springs into action. "Send a message to engineering and the other vessels. Power down all systems. We need to play dead and hope it loses interest." The crew moves swiftly, executing Zane's orders. The Nova Blade de Sautu goes dark, its engines and systems powering down to a silent, eerie hush. The Xyreon and Zyphar vessels, following suit, become still and lifeless against the backdrop of space. The energy entity, a swirling mass of light and power, continues to envelop them, its presence overwhelming. Yet, as the ship's energy signatures fade, the entity's interest seems to wane. The bright mass undulates and pulsates, its light flickering and dimming as if confused by the sudden lack of energy. Minutes stretch into an eternity, as the crew waits in the dark, holding their breaths. Finally, the entity begins to drift away, its glow receding into the distance until it disappears entirely, leaving behind a trail of twinkling light. The silence that follows is profound, a collective sigh of relief echoing through the darkened corridors of the Nova Blade 2. Zane gives the signal, and slowly, power is restored to the ship. Lights flicker back to life, systems reboot, and engines hum once again. Dr. Vega's voice breaks the quiet. That was close. We were fortunate to escape unscathed. That entity could have drained us completely. Zane nods, his eyes fixed on the viewport where the entity had vanished. It's a reminder of how little we know about the universe. Wonders and dangers lurk in every corner of space. The other vessels, now back online, signal their readiness to continue. The convoy resumes its journey to the Sano cluster, their encounter with the mysterious energy life form a stark reminder of the unpredictability of space travel. As the ships glide through space, the crew of the Nova Blade 2 remains vigilant, aware that the road to peace is fraught with unforeseen challenges. Their mission, however, remains clear: to broker a lasting peace between Xyreon and Zyphar and to secure the future of their worlds. The path ahead may be uncertain, but Zane Stellar and his crew are determined to navigate it, whatever it may bring. The convoy of the Nova Blade 2 and the vessels from Xyreon and Zyphar finally arrives at their destination, the gold-rich planet within the Sano cluster. The planet, a gleaming orb of golden hues, seems to promise a future of prosperity and peace for the two warring civilizations. As they establish orbit around the planet, Zane orders a comprehensive scan of the surface. The Nova Blade 2's advanced sensors sweep across the planet, mapping its topography and analyzing its ecosystems. The readouts confirm the planet's wealth in gold, but also reveal a significant challenge. There's no intelligent life, Zane announces, studying the data on the screen, but the planet isn't uninhabited. There are life forms, including large venomous ground snakes. They're the apex predators down there. Dr. Vega, examining the environmental data, adds, "These snakes seem to dominate the ecosystem. Any mining operations will need to be carefully planned to avoid unnecessary conflict with the native wildlife." The leaders of Xyreon and Zyphar, connected via communication links, listen intently to the findings. The revelation of the planet's dangers does not deter them. Rather, it seems to steel their resolve. "We understand the risks," the Xyreon leader responds, his voice resolute. "This is a chance for our worlds to rebuild and flourish. We will work together to extract the gold safely and respectfully." The Zypharian leader chimes in, "Your guidance has brought us to this point, Captain Stellar. We are grateful for your intervention. Leave the mining operations to us. We have a deal, and we will ensure that both our planets benefit equally from this venture." Zane nods, satisfied with their commitment. "Remember, the future of your civilizations rests on your ability to cooperate and coexist. This planet can be the foundation of a lasting peace between Xyreon and Zyphar." As the Nova Blade 2 prepares to depart, the crews of the Xyreon and Zyphar vessels begin their descent to the planet. Equipped with protective gear and advanced mining technology, they set out to navigate the challenges of this new world. From orbit, Zane watches as the two ships land on the golden surface. The sight of Xyreon and Zyphar, working side by side, united by a common goal, is a testament to the potential for change and reconciliation. Dr. Vega turns to Zane, a hint of pride in her voice. "You've done more than broker a peace deal, Zane. You've given them a chance at a new beginning." Zara, looking out at the planet below, adds, "And you've shown that even the fiercest of enemies can find common ground." With their mission accomplished, the Nova Blade 2 sets its course back to the stars. As they leave the Sano cluster behind, Zane reflects on the journey. The path to peace is never easy, but the rewards are immeasurable. The Nova Blade 2 continues its voyage, its crew ready for the next adventure, wherever it may lead them in the vast and wondrous expanse of space. With the successful resolution of the conflict in the Valorian system and the establishment of a new era of cooperation between Xyreon and Zyphar, the Nova Blade 2 and her crew set their sights on a new horizon. Captain Zane Stellar, Dr. Ilara Vega, and Zara Starling gather in the command center, their spirits high with the thrill of exploration and discovery. 3 galaxies over, Zane muses, his eyes gleaming with the prospect of adventure. It's uncharted territory, completely unknown. Who knows what we'll find out there? Dr. Vega, always captivated by the unknown, responds with evident excitement. New galaxies mean new stars, new planets, possibly even new forms of life. The scientific possibilities are endless. Zara, with her usual enthusiasm for the challenges of space travel, adds, "And think of the tech we might come across. Untouched galaxies could hold secrets to advancements we haven't even dreamed of yet." The crew busies themselves with preparations for the long journey ahead. The Nova Blade 2, already a marvel of interstellar engineering, is stocked with supplies, its systems checked and double-checked to ensure peak performance. The Nova Blade 2's engines ignite, casting a brilliant glow against the backdrop of the star-studded cosmos. The ship gracefully pulls away from its current orbit, setting a course toward the unexplored galaxies. As they accelerate into hyperspace, leaving behind the familiar sights of known space, the crew looks out with anticipation at the streaking stars. The vastness of space stretches before them, a canvas of infinite possibilities and untold mysteries. Dr. Vega, her eyes reflecting the starlight, speaks with a sense of wonder. Out there lies the unknown, the uncharted. It's not just a journey through space, but a journey of discovery, of the universe. They venture forth into the unknown, driven by an insatiable curiosity and the unyielding spirit of exploration. Their journey continues, each star a waypoint in their intergalactic odyssey, each galaxy a new chapter in their endless quest. For Captain Zane Steller and his crew, the universe is an open book, and they are its eager readers, turning each page with anticipation of the wonders and marvels that await in the cosmic unknown.